Hey folks, what's flocking? I hope you're doing well. So today I'm gonna talk about Kris Tyson or Ava Tyson. They're this friend of Mr. Beast who was in a few of his videos from time to time. He's like part of his team, his influencer team. They came out as transgender last year or so, and they got into drama with people like Nick Merckx and Sneeko when they called them out on saying, "Oh, Kris abandoned his kid of a father. Instead, they went to go play pretend to be a girl." Basically calling out Kris or Ava and Mr. Beast of being woke and soy, and because their opinions weren't up to par with what they thought was inclusive. They shit talked each other back and forth in a war of words on Twitter. But apparently there's a video out there right now that's exposing Kris Tyson for some very deplorable things. And I'm sorry if I use Kris and Ava over and over again. That's just my brain being slow right now. Oh, who am I kidding? My brain is always slow. I can't even comprehend a sentence. This is the video right here. It's by this guy named Adrox. I hope I said that right. The title is called "This Video Will Make You Hate Kris Tyson." I mean, some people have already hated Kris Tyson as on the day that he came out as trans, but that's not for me to discuss. Transphobes will be transphobes. You can't try to change what they think, and I'm not trying to come off as one myself. Lord knows I don't want to be anything like Sneeko over there. Worst case scenario, I end up like Nick Merckx, a pro gamer in the Battle Royale genre. But I don't have as much of the I can't even say that word. The discriminatory language. I can't even speak my own language, for Christ's sake.
For starting this video, I want everyone to understand two things. First of all is drawings. Japanese manga that is explicit and involves cartoon characters. It's focused on characters and plots depicting underage girls. Now, I think it's clear enough for anyone to understand what it means if a real person draws or likes drawings. The second thing is, I will not make up anything or accuse anyone. I will only show some disgusting and unbelievable things Kris has done, along with proof.
I was even contemplating if I wanted to talk about this given the subject matter that's going into this, but then I saw the person who was connected to this situation and I dropped all of my distractions. I stopped my World of Warcraft gameplay and my TV viewing, and I got all fired up and ready to work on this. There's certain names in the topics I talk about that really put me in the motivation setting, and the one that's going to be talked about here, well, in the words of Kendrick Lamar, certified porn artist, certified lolly artist. I'm sorry you had to hear that.
But now you're probably thinking, what in the world does Kris have to do with all of this? To say the least, you're wrong and right at the same time. A very sketchy personality involved in this story, also known as Shadman. Shadman was a normal guy until he decided to attend an art university in Switzerland to pursue his passion for art. However, shortly after, he was expelled when some of his artwork was discovered to be illegal, even considered a danger to society.
I wonder what the highly illegal drawing was about. I hear some of it is straight up lolicon, and it is. I'm not going to encourage you to see the stuff that Shadman puts out there, but Lord knows it's out there, and it's something that, if it's something that you like to see, well, I guess it'll make you really, really sus. I'd rather people not watch it at all than try to keep it a secret from everyone and have that ruin your credibility. Just take a look at what happened to Vosh and Tipster. They either showed it by accident or try to defend it. And look where that got them. A chunk of the video is basically describing what Shadman did to become hated with what? The artwork that he did of Keemstar's daughter and X-23 from the Logan 2017 movie, and I'm not gonna show it, for God's sakes. It's not relevant to the topic, and I don't want to break YouTube's rules. I don't even want to look like a lolicon enjoyer for that matter. I'm very skeptical about why this was even necessary to add in, but if it's to educate people on who Shademan is, if they didn't know who he was, then go ahead with it, but the examples that he put in the video was just too much, honestly. I'll just show the one picture on here that makes this relevant with the Kris Tyson person and Shadman being connected.
Well, the answer to this is another drawing by Shadman. It depicts a young girl wearing a "Please be patient, I have autism" cap, pointing a gun at her mouth. She has a fidget spinner as an earring and a spade tattoo on her thigh that says BBC.
I regret looking at these pictures now. I'm going to hell for this.
On November 18th, 2017, Ava responded to a tweet from Grande and Mr. Beast stating, "This is coming from a guy who owns a Shad-based drawing and has it as a centerpiece in his living room." Just some time later, they also posted the exact same drawing laid on the floor with the caption, "Bonus fidget spinners to throw some extra autism." Initially, it seems Kris was being sarcastic because this tweet came after Shadman had drawn all those disgusting images. However, something messy was going on behind the scenes. In this Mr. Beast video, you'll notice a very familiar thing at the 9 minutes and 30-second timestamp. From what I believe, keeping illegal art in the bedroom isn't normal at all. The shocking thing is that Mr. Beast and Kris were roommates during that time.
So they did have the Shademan picture, or Shadman, I keep saying that wrong, of the girl with a gun in her mouth pinned up on his wall in the apartment that they were staying at. First things first, this is really, really nasty and horrible to have in your collection. Like, I would have believed if it was really a troll, like a jab at Shademan and the suspicious things that he did with drawing the lolly, but if you legit have this in your room, hanging on your wall as a poster, then I'm gonna jump to the point where you actually do like lolicon. Because no one just hangs a lolly picture in their room and passes it off as a troll just because they made some little silly tweets about it. It just doesn't add up, you know?
Yet this is nothing in comparison to the next incidents. On April 16th, 2018, Ava replied under a deleted Shadman post saying, "No Beast Boy trap, Shad? You've changed." Basically, Ava was asking Shadman to draw art of Beast Boy, as Beast Boy was shown at different ages in the show. We can't say anything for certain, but that doesn't mean the tweet wasn't strange.
It's safe to say the lust for the artwork of Shadman and the cartoon kids and teenagers just doesn't stop at the girls. I mean, hey, Beast Boy is from a show called Teen Titans, and this shows that this is intentional and it's not even a troll at this point, because at first it was just the one poster that you had hanging in your apartment that you shared with Mr. Beast, and it happened to be a little girl with a gun in her mouth in seductive clothing. Now it's saying that he thought Shadman lost his nasty touch with drawing his favorite franchise of kids or teens. Like, Kris wanted a Beast Boy trap art commission made of it. There we go. Add more suspicious activity on the Twitter beforehand. By the way, this gets worse.
Though we definitely can't say the same about the next tweet. On January 17th, 2018, a person tweeted saying, "Remember this growing up? Me too. Check it out at Shadbase," featuring a photo of the 4-year-old cartoon character Caillou with his mother. Obviously, we know Shadbase is a website with very disgusting content involving children and comic book characters, and the tweet clearly referenced that. But instead of opposing it, Kris joined in and replied, "Help, I need an adult." I don't think there's any need to explain how crazy this stuff is.
You're damn right, Adrox.
But what's even crazier is Ava's next tweet. Maybelle and Dipper are 12-year-old siblings from a show called Gravity Falls. On July 14th, 2017, a user tweeted comics of these characters kissing. Ava replied, "They're twins, so at this point, it's just right?"
Okay, I draw the line at Gravity Falls right here because that is one of my favorite shows growing up. So this is it for me, guys. And like, there's a whole lot of more proof on there which shows the lolicon or lolicon implications that Kris Tyson or Ava Tyson was interacting with the Shadman artist. I'm not gonna go too deep into that. If you wanna watch the whole thing, go do a little Google search, Adrox, Kris Tyson, it'll be there.
Were just the incidents that had proofs or were recorded before they deleted everything. One of the tweets, which wasn't clear or was out of context, said, "Nothing gets my knob cranking like some." As we know, the meaning is inappropriate, but let's just let it go. Now, some people may argue that these tweets are years old. I want to clarify again that I am not hating or accusing anyone. This is purely for educational purposes. It's important to understand that Ava was invited to the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards, and everyone should be aware of this. The fact that Shadman wasn't just an artist but drew literal kids is even worse. He was basically a predator. This situation has led to me thinking about one thing. What might have happened between Kris and Katie, as most of these tweets are from that period. We can't make assumptions, but who knows, this might be the reason. But yeah, we can only hope for the best and improvement.
I don't hope for the best of this guy. Lock him up for child pornography charges or child art pornography charges, whatever the fuck you call it. It's little kids in very suggestive acts. Why is it not arrestable? And that's not even me trying to be transphobic. That's me looking out for the little kids and trying to combat the stigma of pedophilia that exists. Because with all of this info that's coming out right now, you can't blame it on transphobia or an anti-woke bias, because this was literally before they became transgender. Even if Kris or Ava is trans now, what kind of privilege allows them to be quiet about this? Like, if someone in Mr. Beast's influencer team saw this and was like, nothing wrong here, then they probably couldn't be saying anything right now, because a good portion would probably define this as transphobia. They probably say something along the lines like, "Oh, that's not who they are anymore. Kris took part in this. You're now referring to them as Ava." Mind you, they're the same person. The same person that had the thought process that Shadman's lolly was acceptable in his world. It doesn't matter what gender they are, they did the thing and no one said anything about it. So there's valid concern to be had on this situation with Adrox coming forward with these allegations. No one else in Kris's or Ava's circle was going to talk about it. Not Mr. Beast, not Carl Jacobs, not anyone in that circle of his. So Adrox had to do it, and quite frankly, thank God he did. Like, this was the same person that was allowed to go to the Nickelodeon's Kids' Choice Awards. I was like neutral with Kris or Ava when they became a woman. I felt kind of bad that she was getting pinned for transphobic remarks by Nick Merckx and Sneeko, but you can't pin transphobia on discussing deplorable stuff that someone did before they even became trans. And if they do, then that's just stupid. There are some things that I can tolerate with certain people, but making or enjoying lolicon art isn't one of them. There's a reason why it's not publicized on the internet and why Shadman had to make that website of his in the first place. And why people defend it, I can never understand. It's literally drawings of little girls and boys that are getting put in very, very bad situations in that way. Like, how can that be normal? That it honestly shouldn't. I'll say this again. I'm not trying to make this into a transphobia piece, okay? Like, maybe people will have an excuse to be transphobic to Ava, especially on Twitter with people like Sneeko or Nick Merckx, for an example. They're definitely gonna get a run for their own money with this. But this isn't the issue here. They're getting exposed for liking lolicon in their past. Like, this is a serious allegation. This is something that Ava has to disclose with the public, because if they don't, then that's going to make them look even more suspicious. I just don't want to see any more children be sexualized, okay? Even if they're not real. Just like the little cartoons that Shademan mix. It contributes to the stigma of pedophilia. For the most part, though, this is very fucked up, and I believe this might be the beginning of Ava's downfall. That's all I gotta say for the most part, though. If you enjoyed this, like the video, subscribe with the bell on, and comment your thoughts. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.